Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the Ramsey Custom Shop. My name is Gary and this is going to be part 3 of our build series on the Poor Man's DIY Ironworker. So today we're going to be making the fence and table that's going to bolt to the side of the Ironworker that will allow us to do some adjusting for different thicknesses of material, different lengths of material, and also or widths of material, and also the squareness of it. So just grabbing some angle iron here out of the barn and going to cut that to length and make that as our piece that will bolt to the side of the Ironworker, or the shear I should say. I'm going to pop over into Fusion 360 and whip up a little table here, and we're going to cut this out of some 1/4 inch material on our True Cut 4x8 CNC plasma table, and then we're going to get that cut out. All right, so here's a look at our table, and it's just got a series of holes that are 2 inches wide and 1 inch apart in length, and you'll see in a minute how we're going to work that. And then here we're cutting out some other little brackets, the pieces that are going to make up our adjustable fence, and so we'll get you a look at that here in a second. All right, so you see what our fence here, and the way we've got this set up with the hole spacing, and all the holes in this are undersized, and I'm going to drill them out to an accurate size, which is going to be 3/8 in diameter. And I've got these 3/8 inch pins that are going to go in an adjustable fence that'll slide down into the slots or the holes in the lower part, so we can get some adjustment. You can see the back side of it there is on a 45 degree, and we'll talk about that more a little bit later. Okay, so over here on the belt sander with a few of the parts that we're just going to clean up from the plasma cut. A lot of times when they're small parts, it's just easier to grind or sand the dross off the back than to try to scrape or knock it off of there. So just a quick clean up before we move on to start drilling our holes out. So I'm over here on our mag drill press, and I've got a video on this. I built this a couple of years ago. I've never actually had a real drill press and needed one, so I built this little stand to convert a mag drill over into a stationary drill press. So as I said, I cut these holes undersized, and now we're just drilling them out to the proper size, which is going to be 3/8 of an inch to fit our 3/8 inch pins. But plasma cut holes are often very flame hardened. And so I'm using a 21/64 drill bit that is a cobalt bit that's really tough, durable. And if you just try to use a regular high-speed steel drill bit on this kind of stuff, you'll get about 2-3 holes and it'll dull it out. So and then then I'll switch over to a regular 3/8 inch drill bit once that hardened edge has been drilled out of there. So that's what you see here. Now just drilling the final 3/8 inch holes out to get it to the correct size. Okay, so just a quick chamfer with a hand drill. I've had better luck doing chamfering with a hand drill than trying to do it in a drill press or in the mill. It just goes really fast, than trying to get it to you just have more feel with a hand drill, and with a really sharp 4-flute countersink you can do quick work with it. So did that real quick, and then here we're just doing a test fit, and we're taking our 3/8 inch pins and driving those into our adjustable fence, and then we're gonna do a fit up here on our holes, and everything's really tight. These pins are 3/8 inch. I drilled the holes 3/8 inch. So what I ended up doing off camera was taking the table part back over to that drill press and putting 25/64 holes in it, which would be a 1/16 over 3/8, to get it to a little more loose fit, but still pretty accurate. Okay, so here we've got our piece of angle iron, and that'll bolt to the side of the shear, and then we've got our table that we made with the holes in it, and those are actually going to get bolted through the frame of the shear. And what captures them is the lower knife, and believe it or not, that tool steel knife is threaded. It's drilled and tapped. So I'm just using this to get everything spaced up to the right area so our heights match. and then did some transfer punching there, and then just using an automatic center punch here to plunge it in there even deeper. So now we're over here on the Cincinnati mill, just locating those holes with a spot drill, and then switching out to a 1/2 inch. Those bolts are a metric, and but I used a 1/2 inch drill to get a clearance on it. I think the threaded holes were like 460 thousandths, so about 50 thousandths clearance on that. So just a quick fit up here and putting the bolts in it, and clamped it down, and then now just getting a couple of welds on it here, and you'll see it kind of spark off a little bit when I lit up, because I had a lot of cutting fluid on the bottom side. I tried to clean it up a little bit, but I apparently didn't clean it up enough. So, but it's on there. It didn't need to be for this particular thing. It doesn't need to be welded like super solidly, just something to hold it in place. That table is not going to see any forces or anything. So this side is actually where it bolts up to the face of the shear, and I didn't want a big thick weld, so I just did some fusion welds there, and then just came back and hit it with a grinder to make sure it's smooth. So okay, so that wraps up our adjustable fence, and we've got, multiple ways of adjusting this thing. So, depending on how long the piece is or how thick it is, how far back in the jaws we can get it, would determine which holes we're going to use. And then you want the stripper, kind of located in the middle of it. So got these just kind of loosely adjusted, and these are, those pins are square to the fence over here. So squared up against that, get your line up over here where you want it, and just maybe snug that down to keep it from rising up. And the factory one that came on this thing, which is this, was right here, and it never needed really like to be perfectly adjusted. It was almost kind of a universal thing. So this is kind of the same thing with that. And the other thought is that I haven't done it yet, but the thought is that I could drill and put another pin here and do 45s on it. So if you wanted to cut this on a 45, obviously you'd have to slide this forward to some locations up here. Let's try that one. There's a couple of these that don't quite fit good, and so again, probably have to move it more forward to get it in there where the jaws are. So something like that. Again, I'd need another pin back there to locate that and keep it on the 45. All right, guys, let me know if you have any thoughts on this, if you would have done something different, or, because I want to sell this as like a plasma cut kit that people can do the final finish on and fit up, and, buy all the other pieces and parts, and I'll just sell all the plasma cut pieces. If you guys can think of a better design, let me know. Be curious on something you think would be, trying to keep it simple, something simple that it's cheap and easy to cut, cheap and easy to pack up, quick and easy for the user to finish it up and make it work for them. So let me know what you think. Leave a comment. Okay, so in the next video on this series, we're going to be adding our handheld pipe threader and trailer jack from Harbor Freight to provide the linear actuation of the shear. And if you're just now watching this series and you want to see the other videos in this series, click the center of the screen for a playlist for the other videos. Thanks, guys.